Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Enfield. I'm Mike Tippo. It's good to have you back with us today. Before we start our discussion, I want to discuss something else with you. We've had a little bit of change at ETV. We have a new station manager. And if you've watched the show before, you've heard me refer to Kevin Sullivan as our director, producer, all-around guy. Well, he's now the station manager, too. We're real happy about that. He's a great guy, and I know he's going to do a great job for Enfield. Okay, today is going to be an interesting conversation. I think it's going to be on the Enfield High School Building Committee is with us today. And right next to me is Randy Daigle, and next to Randy is Wendy Osada. Okay, and then Lynn Scull is on the end. Okay, let's get started. Let's go back to the beginning of this. Why are we rebuilding a high school, and why are we going to shut down another high school? How did this all start, Randy? Give us some background.
Well, it started many years ago due to the enrollment, the decline of enrollment. Right now, the enrollment is projected to start going down, and one of the problems that we're running into by having two high schools is that we're not able to offer AP courses and some standard courses because there's not enough kids to fill those classes right now. So what's happening is some students are either not taking these classes because they're not offered at one high school. In some cases, some of the students are being bused or driving over to the other high school for that one class. The problem with that is it takes a whole nother period because it takes a half a period for them to get there. They have that class, another half a period to come back. So we're not really being able to educate the kids in the same fashion in both schools. The enrollment is not there to justify. Plus, both of the schools are in dire strait for renovations. The cost to renovate two schools is greater than renovating one.
Sure.
Plus, the reimbursement won't be there if you're renovating two schools, and the burden will be on the taxpayer. The referendum that passed allowed the state to reimburse 78% of the project, and the consolidation savings will cover the bond cost. So by consolidating the kids and putting them into one school, giving them a 21st century state-of-the-art facility at zero taxpayers' dollars, makes the most sense than to renovate two high schools at $30 to $70 million. That would be 100% taxable to the town.
Do you know, in our heyday, how many kids were in each high school at the busiest time?
I think at the busiest time, total was around 16 to almost 1,700.
I think there was about
yeah.
1,700 at Fermi, I believe
Total.
it's highest, total.
Right.
Yeah,
There was 1,700 at one
I
time at
believe
Fermi?
at one time,
Really?
at
Wow.
Fermi.
At Fermi,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And what do we have now for high school enrollment?
the projected right now, I think we're around 1,650 in that range between the two of them.
Between the two of them?
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right. And now, you said 78% is going to be given to us by the state?
Reimbursement from the state. Yeah.
And what about the other?
The remaining balance, the bond cost for the remaining $32 million, at the current bond rate right now, and the savings that we would have by the operational costs will cover the bond cost. So the $32 million would be covered by the projected savings of consolidating the schools.
Okay, explain a little bit, maybe you'd be better at this, Lynn. How does a bond work? You know, I'm sure a lot of people out there really aren't aware of how, towns and states can get into bonding. Do you know much about that?
I don't really know much about bonding,
Okay.
Mike. I don't do finance,
Okay, all right.
unfortunately.
Wendy?
Oh, no, not my area of
Okay,
expertise,
all right,
but I'm
okay.
sure that next time we come back to give you an update on progress, that we
Right.
can bring somebody from the town with us
Okay,
and who
all
can
right,
explain that
okay.
for you.
I know, as we all know, but maybe a lot of folks watching maybe don't, that a lot of major projects in towns and states even go through bonding. And-
Bonding is basically taking out like a loan. You're paying off through the bond. The state buys these bonds, and then you reimburse the bond at that rate that they're paid for. So it's pretty much like taking out a loan.
Mhm.
But like I said, the $32 million at the rate would be approximately $1.8 million a year. The savings for the consolidated schools is at $2.6 million.
Okay.
So the money that we're saving will be covering the cost of the bond. The
Okay.
bond, like I said, is just basically like taking out a loan.
All right. where are we right now in the process?
Well, after the referendum, what we did, the town put out an advertisement for applications for people that are interested in the building committee, joining the building committee. The town council, the Board of Ed, went through the applications and picked 11 members, 3 of us being here tonight. And at that point, we put out what's called an RFP, RFQ, a request for qualifications to hire the architect. We had multiple firms apply. We established a subcommittee to shortlist from the 13, 14-plus firms down to 4 firms. The 4 firms that we did interview were Silver Petroselli, JCJ Architects, the Fusco Corporation, and the Morganti Group. Those were the firms that that we interviewed for the architects. Silver Petroselli being the firm that was picked. And then at that point, they started doing the drawings. One of the advantages that we have by the firms, by us picking Silver Petroselli, they were also the architects that did the pre-referendum studies and drawings. So the day after they were selected by the building committee, they literally were able to continue with the project. Where if one of the other firms would have won, they would have taken anywhere from 4 to 6, 7 months to get reacclimated, to go through their own studies, to make sure the floor plans meet. They wouldn't take another architectural's drawings and just go with them. They would start from ground zero.
Really?
Because they're assuming all the liability and risk, so they
Yeah,
want to make
yeah.
sure that the program meets it, the footprint meet it. They would have to go through the year and a half that the pre-referendum committee did, to go through their notes just to get acclimated to where we are, get familiar with the project, what our requirements are. So we just, from the day one, we were able just to start. And then,
And Randy, I just wanted to mention, though, if you don't mind that I interrupt for 1 second, but that doesn't mean that's why they were chosen and they
No.
were selected. The
Right.
entire committee was present for the interviews and scored all the candidates, and they came
Right.
out with the highest score.
Right. And probably because they were much more aware of what you were looking for and wanted, and already had the plans before them that they had designed. So, it sounds like it was a good idea to go with them versus having that 6 or 7 months for somebody else having to go through new plans and that sort of thing.
and plus they demonstrated they were the most qualified firm.
Qualified.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't entirely, it was one of many decisions or criterias that we judged them on.
Yeah.
And with their subcontractors and their firms and their qualifications, the committee found that they were the most qualified firm also.
Have they done work like this before?
Yep, they've done a tremendous amount of work. They specialize in higher education
Oh, good.
type of facilities, schools.
Good.
They're very familiar with the process through the state, the Bureau of School Facilities, which is one of the criteria, because that could be a roadblock. If you're not familiar going
Oh,
through the state
sure.
procedures, you could waste 5, 6 months right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Them being familiar with it, again, was another advantage that we were able to reap the benefits of
Very
being the
good.
town.
Now, you use a term, I know during a lot of the hearings, where you're going to reconstruct the inside of the schools.
Yeah,
Every door is going to change.
we use, the state requires us to use a term, it's called renovate as new.
Right.
That being, to make a long story short, if you were to paint an existing wall, the state would not reimburse you for the paint because it's an existing condition. If we were to tear it down and build it as new with new technology, warranted materials, the state will reimburse us at that rate that we have, which is the 3rd highest in the state. So by doing renovate as new, we are tearing down everything in this building except for the structural, the steel. Every door, every plumbing fixture, every mechanical system, every light fixture, the floor tiles, the bathrooms.
With the exception of that area that had been remodeled
Recently.
Right.
Okay, so there's, that section of the school with the library and whatnot, where that
Okay.
had been done fairly recently.
Yeah.
And so that will be about the only area that's not touched.
Because that is up to the standards at this time, where the other stuff is 30-plus years old. So, yeah, we are renovating as new. So when this is done, every square inch will be brand spanking new and under warranty and state-of-the-art.
Wow, wow. When will the actual construction start?
Well, we are looking, we were able to convince the Bureau of School Facility to allow us to what's called fast-track part of this, the floor plan. One of the areas, which is the STEAM building, the STEAM wing, that we've dedicated it as called the Fermi Wing, to show some homage to the other school and to keep it as one town. We're allowed to submit that to the state and start construction on the structural and the foundation work on that building while the rest of the building's being designed. So by able to fast-track it, we are looking to put shovel in ground in July of 2014.
Okay, now explain what STEAM means.
You want me to take that?
All
Okay,
right.
so STEAM is an acronym that represents science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So this initial building, this is the addition, the brand-new part of the building
Right.
that's going to be put on, and that's going to be done first. And as Randy said, it's been named the Enrico Fermi Wing to kind of show
Yeah.
a solidarity with the old high school, and show that this is really a true blending of the two
Right.
schools. As Randy said, just about everything else in the building is going to be, renovated as new. Things like the A-wing, the gymnasium, the cafeteria, the auditorium, the stage, the music, everything else is going to be redone. And I want to mention that the design here is not just whim, it's not just a wish list. The
Sure.
design for the entire building was built on the program. And what that means is that it's taking a look at what is the curriculum, what are the new graduation requirements in 2018, plus what's the projected enrollment. Okay, so if the new graduation requirements say that a student needs to have a certain number of years of math, or of English,
Yeah.
or of a science, or of any of the other courses, then you take a look at how many years they need, how many students there are, and that's where you derive how many classrooms you need for that particular area of study. So it wasn't just made up, it was,
Yeah.
it was something that's based on what we truly need in order to support the entire population.
And we determined that by interviewing different groups of individuals within the educational system here in town. We went to our central office administration, we went to our building administrators, both in Fermi and Enfield High School. And then we brought together our teacher department chairs from both high schools in every facet of our education. Whatever curriculum we do have, we brought those department chairs all together, and we asked them, what do you need? We also asked them what they wanted, knowing that we wouldn't necessarily be able to
Right.
give them everything that they wanted. And so we've met with them several times already. They gave us their wish list,
Sure.
their needs, and then we went back to them with, well, this is what you can have because that's what we can afford. And so they continue to give us input, and they will be giving us more input as we continue, because now that we have the structural design pretty well set, we will be going back and saying, okay, this will be your classroom. What does this science classroom need to entail for 21st century education? And so this process will continue until probably within 6 months to a year before we open.
And that's why there's going to continue, still going to be some tweaks. They're
Sure,
going to happen
sure.
along the way. Obviously, for pre-referendum, we had initial meetings with all those same areas, and we got, the 50,000-foot level of what they were looking for,
Right.
so that we could design to the point where we had a fairly accurate, something that we could put out on the referendum. After the referendum passed, and then we had the architects, come on board, and then you take those interviews down to a deeper level, and you get a deeper level of information from them. So when people ask, why are there some changes? Why does it look a little different now than it did during pre-referendum? Well, that's because we've gotten down into a deeper level of detail, a deeper level of design, and so there's going to continue to be some tweaks, along the way as we get down into a closer and closer to completion of the actual
Yeah.
project.
One of the things that we did promise early on to the town was that this is a town project. It's not the building committee making decisions and then everybody has to live with it. We are
Right.
getting the feedback from the actual end users.
That's good.
I mean, it's really easy to draw a line and pretty picture, but if it's not functional, it's not worth it. One of the things that we were doing is that the gymnasium is now going to be able to house 1,600 people at one time, so we can do inside graduations if need be. And also the cafeteria now, once this is completed, the cafeteria will be the number one facility making all the lunches for all 11 schools in town.
Really?
So that is going to be a state-of-the-art commercial kitchen also.
Very good, very good. You folks have done a lot of thinking on this, just the things you're coming up with now. The people on your committee, what backgrounds do they come from?
We have an awesome selection of committee members. Some of them are ex-principals, some of them are attorneys, some of them are risk managers in corporations.
Oh, really?
Some of them are in the construction field.
Good.
Some of them are business owners in town. Mr. Cruzel, who is here today, he's a business owner. Every one of us that are on the committee, I believe, are there for the right reasons. There's nobody here doing anything other than for the good of the town, and it makes the dialogue more pleasant. Everybody brings in different ideas, which is good because their background, but the fact that we're all there for the right reason, it's not a political committee, it's not no personal agenda committee. We are able to listen to their ideas and really think, okay, is this the best way? And more times than not, they are the best way. And that's why we were able to save money to offer air conditioning in this entire building, come up with this incredible looking building, and we're still within our $250+ per square foot. We're gonna give this building, state-of-the-art 21st century building, we're gonna build this at $250+ per square foot, in that range. The average cost is in the $300 to $80 per square foot. So we are still providing the best building at the best price that is traditionally done out there. They're building buildings, correct, and other organizations are building buildings at $450 a square foot.
Wow.
And giving you no more than what we are, but we're just utilizing every inch and making the best out of every space that we have. And, every member of this committee has offered some suggestions that made this a better footprint than it was originally.
Are there any town employees on your committee?
There's no employees.
Well, we have liaisons, though. We have liaisons.
That's what I was
They're
getting at.
non-voting members,
Okay.
but they contribute an awful lot to the dialogue and to the conversation, so that when we're discussing decisions that need to be made, we look for and welcome their input, but then when it comes time to take a vote, they're non-voting members. But
Okay.
liaisons from the Board of Education and from the Town Council.
Right, and we also have a consultant who has been a employee of the Board of Education in the past, Dr. Art Pomgrantz. I think not many people know he's a doctor.
They do now.
They do now. He was the Director of School Facilities for the Enfield Public School
Good.
System up
Excellent.
until several years ago.
Yeah.
And he is a non-voting consultant for
Yeah.
us. And he brings to the table the knowledge of this building
Right.
that goes back many, many years,
Yeah.
which has been helpful in our design because he sometimes knows where things are in the building. What's behind that wall?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Art, what's behind the wall?
Yeah.
And Art
yeah,
knows.
Yeah.
And he knows a lot of the other organizations that we
Right.
need to deal with. He's
That's
very
great.
familiar with the community, the other organizations.
Good.
He knows where to go. He knows who to speak to ask the right questions. So
Very good.
And he's highly respected at the state level when we have our meetings with the state of Connecticut. His experience and his credentials, when he goes to different meetings, people they understand that he's telling the truth. He's an
Sure.
honest man. He does not have to do this. He lives in another town, but he's done every building in this town when he was an employee here. And his passion is construction. He knows this inside and out. He knows the players. He knows the tricks that they can pull.
Yeah.
And he is a vital link to this team. We definitely would not be where we are without Art on this
Good.
team. Absolutely.
Very good, very good. That's what I was really looking for, is you do have people on the inside also, and that's great that you do, especially with his background.
Absolutely.
It's very
And the
helpful.
town attorneys and the town
Dr. Schuman.
manager,
Yeah.
Dr. Schuman.
very, very
Yeah.
engaged.
Everybody's been incredibly helpful. The two principals at both schools, Jill at the high school, she's been through the construction at her previous place where she was a principal, so she understands that there's gonna be some inconveniences, where if you've never been through it, every little thing might be,
Sure,
earth shattering,
sure.
but she's been through it and she understands there's going to be dust, there's going to be some sound. We're just going to have to stay in close contact with her daily and let her know that we're going to be working this area. If there was a test going on there, we may have to work in another area that day or that week, so.
That's just what I was going to get at with you. Now, you're going to break ground next year in July,
Yes, sir.
so you're going to have July through September that you can make all the noise you want.
Yeah,
What
we-
happens on September 15th or whatever day the kids go back to school? How do you give them a good environment to study in but still continue with your work?
Well, one of the advantages we have is our construction manager at risk has built, renovated as new, and built buildings while students are in those buildings
Good.
before. They have a very high regard for the education that's going on in that building while they are constructing in that building. They know how to work with our administrators and our teaching staff and our other staff members to not impact the students any more than they have to. The parents that are going to have children there while the construction is going on know that they're going to have some impact.
Sure.
There's going to be some noise, there's going to be dust, there's going to be inconveniencing in parking. We're now
Yeah.
exploring the parking issue.
Yeah.
But we also have in place all of these people that know how to deal with that in the least disruptive way. So
Then will they be doing a lot of work at night or over the midnight shift, that kind of thing?
I don't know if they will have to do midnight work. I
Really?
think that will depend largely, there are unforeseen things that will come up. We can't control the weather,
Sure.
as we've all learned this summer. We can't always control what they're going to find behind a wall.
Yeah, unforeseen conditions.
Unforeseen conditions. So that
Yeah.
might be a situation where we'll have to go in with second and third shift work. But right now, we're not scheduled to do much second and third shift work.
Wow.
If we get behind, we may see that changing.
It's an
But
option.
right now, they've become so adept at doing these constructions with students in place that they know how to make it extremely safe. They build in safety protocols from the very beginning. They build in protocols on keeping the construction staff away from the teaching staff and the students. There's not going to be a lot of interaction with the day-to-day people in the building. You're going to have some interaction with your construction managers and your administrators, and maybe a few of your key teachers, but they try to keep it separate because we want to keep our children safe and our staff safe while they're in that building.
And there's also a credentialing process for anybody
Yes.
who's going to be on the job site as well.
Good.
That's part of it too. So
Good.
they're going to know who's on the job
Right.
site. Even though they're going to be kept separate, they're still going to know, and there will be a credentialing process for those that'll be on there.
Do you guys want to talk about the workforce program?
Oh, yes.
While they're in
One
school?
one of the things that.
I read about this today. This is very
Right.
interesting.
One of
Great
the things that
program.
we are really excited about, and was brought to us by one of our committee members who is involved in it, is what's known as workforce development. And as many people know, there is a severe shortage of tradespeople throughout the country today. And so many of these construction firms and architectural firms have taken the lead and have worked on building programs that expose our high school students and maybe even some of our middle school students to the work that the tradesmen will be doing while they are doing it, giving them the advantage of possibly going in and examining the work, watching the work in some cases when it's safe. And we're working with our curriculum officer in the central office, as well as the technology department chair, and then eventually some of the teaching staff as well, to entice the children that are interested to come on out and take part. And we're building programs such as an OSHA 10 program, which is a safety training program, so that if they wish, they can take this coursework as an extracurricular activity and expose them to those trades that
Yeah.
we all need. Everybody needs a plumber, everyone needs an electrician.
Right.
Structural steel, which actually I think I would like to take because I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
To get them interested in and steer them towards careers
Yeah.
that can be beneficial for themselves and for their community.
What a great idea. That's really wonderful, you know. We all think that all our kids have got to be college grads and everything, but would you rather have more philosophers or more plumbers? Yeah.
Especially when you need a plumber.
And I think it's a part of educating our children that brings us in a direction that the whole country needs to go in. Hands-on, working, people that work building things and repairing things
Yeah.
is something that in some respects is a lost art in our country, so.
It is, yeah.
And you can make a great living.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
can.
Some of these
Yeah.
trades are making
Yeah.
$50+ an hour.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's some serious money in these trades.
It's
The
small
interesting program they had over at Nuntech, that my wife and I got involved with it, they brought kids in and said, okay, when you graduate from school, you've got to sit down now and figure out where do you want to live, what kind of equipment do you want, computers, stereo, and according to the salary that you're going to be making.
There you go.
And the kids had no idea, you know. But the thing that came out from it was that from the time of graduation to the next 5 years, the highest paid person would be an HVAC technician.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because everybody else in, you know,
Right.
other areas, you got to kind of start.
Right.
Well, this kid, he's running right
Right.
from the time he graduates.
And this program will bring those trade options to the kids that are in infield
Yeah,
while it's happening. They can
This is a great
actually
idea.
watch
yeah,
the HVAC
yeah,
tradesmen do what they do.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
That's a great idea, it really is. Wonderful. Okay, now, I don't have this in my mind yet. They're going to be working on construction. Are we going to have to take kids from this area here and move them over here so that they can do those classrooms?
Yes.
Okay, so there's going to be a lot of shuffling kids around?
There will be shuffling kids within Enfield High School.
Within the school?
Within the school. We will not be taking children who are enrolled at Enfield High School and transferring them to Fermi High School. That has
For
not
any
been
classwork.
ever
Really?
something that we have planned to do. This project was, and always has been, scheduled as a phasing project that moves children within the campus of Enfield High School. We are building the Enrico Fermi STEAM wing first. And there's a reason for that, because that new wing will house all of the core classrooms that we will need while we renovate the presently known as A wing
Wow.
of Enfield High School. So we will be moving those students and their teachers and all of the paraphernalia that they need over, and we don't have a set date yet. We're kicking a few dates around, but it's not set enough to really open it up. But when we get them into the STEAM wing, then the construction will start on floors 1, 2, and 3 of the A wing. At the meantime, we will be already having started work on the cafeteria and gymnasium wing. The last phase of this will be the demolition of what we call D wing and the reconstruction of the entire auditorium wing and the addition of the new music area in that wing. So it's a phased construction. It will be a schedule that, when it is finalized, we will certainly let the community know. And the parents and the students will see, okay, I may be here for 6 months, but then the next semester, we may move across the way to the new wing. Well, so you can see, we will be shuffling, but it will be done, as I said, the administration has experience in this. They know how to organize it. The teachers will be well informed in advance, so the parents will be informed. And we're going to try to be as minimally as disruptive and as safe as possible.
But you know what, kids are very flexible.
Oh, yes.
It's the parents sometimes that be
Well, as parents, I think we all agree.
Yeah, very cute. All right, so when is it going to be done?
We are looking
I
to
want the
have it,
exact date now.
we are
Write
looking
this
at
down.
substantial completion at September of 2016 is when we were looking to move all the students from Fermi into this new school.
Will it be a one-shot deal?
One-shot deal. They're going to end 1 year at Fermi and then begin the next year at Enfield. like Lynn was saying, we will not be disrupting midterm, mid-school year, mid-semesters. Once the year is over at Fermi, they will start the new year at the new school at Enfield High.
What about the parking lot?
We're expanding that in every area,
that right?
from the whole front where A-wing is,
Yeah.
where D-wing is now,
Yeah.
that is gonna be another parking area. We're reconfiguring the entire parking and site, so your bus drop-off is separate from where the students come in
Excellent.
and where the cars are. We're adding additional parking in the back.
Good.
We're adding another parking lot down in the bottom of the, where the football field is.
Lower level.
We're gonna have enough parking to house the students plus guests, and also if we have any events at the school, there'll be adequate enough parking to allow, we're gonna have seating for 1,600 in the in the gymnasium itself, so we will have ample amount of room for parking. And the drop-off area is gonna be a lot safer. You're not gonna be walking through buses anymore.
What do you hear from Fermi High School kids? How are they feeling about this?
I think for the majority of them, the kids that I've talked to, and the parents, you know what, it's a done deal, it's happening. So I think everybody's embracing it now. I know the kids are excited to have a new school. They're wondering about the sports and stuff like that, but I think overall, the feedback that I'm getting from the kids, some parents, because they graduated from Fermi, kids themselves, I think they're all excited. Everyone that I've spoken to, they're excited. They're going to get a brand-new school. I mean,
Yeah.
how could you not?
Yeah, but if you think about it, the students that are at Fermi right now, unless, the only ones that'll be impacted by this, in other words, by having to consolidate, are the ones that are going into their freshman year.
Right.
The ones that
Right.
are
Yeah.
sophomores, juniors, and seniors,
It won't affect them.
this
Right.
coming
That's
year,
true.
They will be gone.
they will have graduated.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so it doesn't have any impact. So really, it's more the kids that are in junior high and the grammar
Right,
schools,
right,
and that's why we're going to make sure as we go forward, and there's other additional opportunities to share information and have public forums and whatnot, we want to make sure that the information gets out to those junior high families and those grammar school families too, so that, because they'll be the ones that'll be more significantly impacted.
Very good. This is really exciting. How can the public keep an eye on it? Is it going to be emails or, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so there's a couple different ways. First of all, on the town website, if you go to boards, agencies, commissions, and then Enfield High School Consolidation, there's a location there where you can link to a page that they have set up for the consolidation. You have things like meeting agendas, meeting minutes are available at that location. We also have a Facebook group set up called Enfield High School Building Committee. That one will have a little bit more fun information, a little bit more current event type things.
Pictures and things
Yeah,
like that.
some pictures and
Great.
things like that. We've got
Good.
some pictures, right now, all we have pictures of to show are some of the committee meetings.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we are going to be having some more public forums, like we had done during the pre-ref phase. There'll be opportunities for the public to come out, and we'll do some type of a
We're
presentation,
at the
give an
4th of
update on
July.
status, and then, let folks ask us questions as well. Again, we were at the 4th of July, too. We had a tent set up there,
We're going to
so.
be at Family Day on the town greenhouse.
Family Day,
Sure.
September 15th, right?
As things go along, can we get you back here?
Absolutely. That's something that we've always said we wanted to do. This is a
It's a great idea.
public job.
Yeah.
Project, and we want to keep the public informed. And one thing that we all want to reassure parents that they will be kept informed through the school system of any movement of, this is a phased construction, so the parents will be notified well in advance that if their students are going to be relocated to another classroom. The teachers will know well in advance. It's not going to be one day you're in this room and next day you don't know where the heck you're going.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's going to be informed. And if there's any questions that anybody has, ask us. I mean,
Right.
this is,
We have committee meetings
This is-
Thursday nights right now at Enfield High School in room B105.
Open to the public.
They're open to the public. There's not an opportunity to ask questions during the meeting, but you can always catch committee
Right.
members
Sure.
before or after the meeting, or
Sure.
you can sit and you can observe and you can see where we are and what's going on. We might cut back to a little bit less than weekly when there is an extended design period where we've finalized all of the design, and then the architects and the construction managers have to just go off and do, work before they have anything to bring back to us. So keep an eye on the town website for the agendas, and then you'll know whether or not we're scheduled to meet that Thursday evening or not.
Very good.
And you can also contact all of us that are committee members by going, don't know if it's on our webpage, but if you have to, you can go in to the town manager. And because we are public citizens now, our contact information, or at least our phone numbers, are.
Email addresses.
And
for
email
sure.
addresses.
Enfield email address.
Right,
Enfield
all
town
of us have an enfield.org
We
email
do.
address with our first initial and last name. So as long as you know
Mhm.
reasonably how to spell our name, you should be able to get a hold of us.
Are you hearing from the public?
A bit.
Sometimes,
A
yeah.
bit. I believe we probably all hear individually.
do.
I know I see people when I go into, because of what I do, I go into schools occasionally and I get waylaid by parents.
Yeah.
I would imagine, like myself, most of us get waylaid occasionally in the grocery store.
Yeah, I was going to say, stop.
Soccer games.
Yeah.
Used to be
Soccer
my
games.
soccer games
Yeah.
with
With
the
the
parents and
kids.
things like that,
I've
yeah.
learned more about the town at soccer games and softball games,
Of course.
you know,
Yeah.
it's a great, that's why I love this town. I wasn't born here, I was born in Boston, but we've lived here now for almost 40 years. And just the accessibility of people, you know, the chief of police, or, you know, the manager, town manager, or whatever, you can just, they're very accessible, no matter where you see them.
Yeah, pick up the phone, and they'll call you back if
Yeah,
they're
they
not
will.
there.
They will.
It's like a little big town, you know? It's-
Yep.
It's a good size, but it's still personal.
Yeah, it really is, really is. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wow.
Enjoying it very much.
Good, learning a lot, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
definitely.
I'm really excited about the idea that kids are going to be able to go in and work with an electrician, or at least see how they're
Right.
doing it, and that's fabulous. And I can see kids that are in school, but they're not really happy with what they're doing, say, gee, this really looks interesting.
Well,
You know.
many children are much more enticed by the thought that I can get in there and do it with my hands
Exactly,
than I have to learn it by reading in a book.
yeah,
We all know that some of us are book learners.
right.
Some of us are audio learners, some of us are hands-on learners.
Right.
And this will give those children who learn by seeing and touching, that may have an interest in something but don't know how to
Right.
go about,
You know,
how do I get exposed?
Right.
I'm interested in being an electrician. What do I do? Well,
Right.
now, this will give them a chance. And we are going to make the children all the way down into the middle school aware of these opportunities.
That's great.
Because they will be the ones impacted,
That's great, it really is.
so.
Anything that we haven't talked about you'd like to get out there?
No, I think we pretty much touched upon everything. You know, the floor plan is a very, very practical floor plan. The facade, exterior of the building, it's going to be a pretty building, but there's no waste. There's no
Nowhere.
glamour.
Yeah,
You know, it's going to be an attractive, beautiful building, but
Functional.
Functional building. We're not
Strictly
wasting
functional.
money anywhere. I mean, this is,
Right.
even though, you know, we say the state's reimbursing it, it's still our money.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all have children at stake at this, and we're looking at it like it's our house, and we're not wasting money. Everything that's here is for a reason. But, yeah, it's going to be a beautiful, state-of-the-art building.
And I think
Great.
another thing about the building itself is that over the years, it's been proven that education delivered in a setting that is aesthetically pleasing
right.
enhances the education. We've
Sure.
had opportunities to utilize the beauty of the site that Enfield High School sits on.
Mhm.
We are going to have opportunities for our visitors, our students, our staff, everyone, to look out over onto the Connecticut River.
Mhm.
And that isn't extra money being spent, that's quality design.
Design.
Taking advantage of our placement on the edge of the river. So I think that's something that the people in town should be very proud of, is that we're using that beautiful site that we have now.
Very good. Anything else? Okay, very good.
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
Yes, this
my
has been
pleasure.
Thank you for
fun.
giving us opportunity to keep the public informed.
That's great, that's great. Well, folks, you've seen some very enthusiastic people on this committee that are working to give our kids the best facility that we possibly can. And you heard how other people from the community, employees of the town, a former employee, they're all chipping in, working at this to do the best we possibly can. If you talk to some of your friends, and if they want to see this show, it'll be on Cox and ATT Uverse. It's also available on YouTube. They can Well, Kevin, what's the best way to get that on YouTube? How do you,
www.youtube.com/Enfield Television.
Enfield Television, okay, that's the key, once you get onto YouTube. Very good. Okay, thanks an awful lot, folks, for coming in. I really appreciate it. It was a good, lively conversation. And to our
you.
station manager, thank you once again, Kevin, for all your good work. And you all have a great week, and we'll hopefully be talking to you soon. Bye now. Okay,
Thank you very much.
very well.